Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video, we are doing the thing you have all asked me to do, which I was definitely going to do from the very beginning. We are comparing the JADA Street Fighter RYU with the Storm Arena Street Fighter RYU. We already did a comparison, not with RYU, but with a few other Street Fighters between Soda and JADA, because they were both top-of-the-line figures at the time they released, and JADA has been blowing everybody out of the water for the price point. Until now. Now we have Storm Arena coming into this 6-inch scale and at a relatively low price point. You don't get much lower than this price point for these guys. So if you haven't seen this type of video from me before, I'm going to do a comparative review. I'm going to hit all of the same points that I do in my reviews, but comparing them against each other, so that we can decide if one of them comes out on top blanketly, or maybe just in some ways, or maybe not at all. We'll have to wait and see. Now, I will give you guys the base information first. JADA Street Fighter figure, $25 right now at Big Bad Toy Store. $27 for the Storm Arena Street Fighter RYU. Alright, the prices have bounced around a little bit over the last couple months, but these are, as far as I can tell, the prices we should expect and the standard going rate. 25, 27, so essentially the same price. It's technically 8% more, but I don't think anybody's paying that much attention to $2. That's my guess. You guys can let me know if you disagree with that. But yeah, these guys are both top-of-the-line figures for the money. I'll preface this review by saying this also. I have no intentions of slamming one versus the other. I'm not going to choose one outright and be like, I like this, so this one's bad. It's not like that. They're both excellent figures. I don't know why we have this tribalist thing going on where it's like, oh no, I'm collecting JADA, therefore I hate Storm Arena. Or Storm Arena is better, so therefore JADA's garbage. It's not how it has to be. They can both be good. You can pick whichever one you prefer, or both. I'm just here to provide the information for you guys to decide how you want to spend your money. I'm not going to be doing any of that one side versus the other in the absolute sense. Just, we're gonna see which one comes out on top for your money. That's all. Okay, so before we get into the actual reviews, I do want to show you my packages. Like I said, we're gonna run this just like a regular review and see how things go. And my packages is not usually how we start, but I usually do show you my package. So we're going to do that. And it's kind of important, because packaging is important for some people who collect in the box. Now, JADA has released a packaging that is exceptionally attractive. It looks like an arcade cabinet for the most part. It's nice and colorful, shows the game art, big open window for the front, the whole front from here to here is just solid window. You get a lot of figure, a lot of accessories. Very, very nicely done. Some artwork on the side. The back's not much to look at. This is alright, but I feel like really could have spent some more time on that. A couple poses or something. But yeah, definitely good packaging. Window on the top for light to come in if you are an in-box collector. They are squared edges, so you can display them on a shelf or on a wall. Very, very nice packaging. Now, the Storm packaging, way more simple. Now, this is the Japanese version, so the ones that come to America will say alpha on them instead of 0, but it's going to be essentially the same, presumably. Now, here's the thing about this. It's a way more basic package in a lot of ways. The window is much smaller. There is a lot of plastic in there, layers of sheet plastic to protect the figure. It's way less appealing to look at the figure through the window. Way less to see in the first place because of all the cardboard. No window on the top, less window on the front, bigger artwork on the front, which is still fine, game logo. This is fine, but it's way less appealing. It's still a good-looking package, but way less appealing if I had a nickel. Same artwork on the side. It's fine. Yeah, it does steal from the game. It's supposed to, but it's fairly basic. It's fairly basic looking. It's going to display fine, but it's not going to catch any eyes. I think these probably catch eyes more, assuming you like the figure that's inside. Now, the back, though, on the other hand, way better. I love this. I like it a whole bunch. I think you could crank the contrast and saturation up a little bit, but that looks really nice. This one has the contrast and saturation, but one lousy photo. It's just kind of drab. So packaging, if I have to say a winner, I would personally go with this, and that's not counting the figures inside. If you hate the way the JADA figure looks, then this packaging won't work for you because of what's inside. But strictly on the packaging alone, I would go with JADA. They're both good, but I think JADA does take the packaging in this. Alright, so now Now we can do this. We can start with the aesthetics, and I'll go through one and then the other, and then we'll kind of see if one of them comes out on top. But before we do that, I want to do a question of the day. How much does it matter to you which game they're from? I know for some people it's like, oh, I only want Street Fighter 4, or I only want Street Fighter 2, or I only want Alpha. Other people, it doesn't really matter. For me, like if I had my pick, I would probably go Street Fighter 3. I didn't even like the game that much. Like, I know it's a good game, but I didn't play it that much. But I like the looks the most. But I also don't care that much. Whatever they make, I'm going to buy. I mean, whichever game it's from. So it doesn't matter to me. But if you only want Street Fighter 2 look and not Street Fighter Alpha, then obviously this video is not going to make much of a difference for you. Because if you don't want Alpha no matter what, this one's out of the running. And if you only want Alpha, for instance, I don't think anybody doesn't want 2. Well, maybe. I guess if you only want Alpha, then this one, you know? Okay. So, let's do the aesthetics. We'll start with JADA. They came out first. They came out swinging, and they have been really successful. Let me adjust the camera just a little bit here. They have been super successful. They've done a great job making a great line of figures, but there have been some consistent issues that people have had. A lot of people like to say the stylization is meant to match the game. It looks just like the game. I don't know who started that or where it came from. It's not accurate. If anything, they matched that goofy American cartoon. But they look like the characters, but not specifically from the sprites or the character art or whatever. Like, they're definitely pulling from that, but it's a very stylized look. I don't really think there's any fair arguing against that. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying it is a thing. So if you're okay with this stylized look, then you're going to be okay with it, and that's fine, but we're still going to see if they did a good job. And I will say, this is the reissue version. I cracked open a brand new one. Whole opening experience, because it came out a while ago, and this guy just came out, and I wanted to give them both a fair shot. So I opened a brand new one so that it was fresh on my mind and felt like a brand new figure, okay? So that you're aware. Now, we'll start with the skin tone. It's the worst thing about this figure. Ryu's skin tone, he's very yellowy orange. I don't think he has ever looked like this in the game ever. He's like almost Oro colored. Not really, but it's not the right color. He looks weird. His skin tone's weird. It's a nice matte finish, so that's good. There's shading throughout, and I would say the skin tone shading is pretty nice. It's got that pinky, warmer. It's pretty good. It's not great, but it's hard to say because of this almost macaroni and cheese colored skin. It's certainly not the best looking thing. Now, on its own, you get used to it, it looks okay, but then you put up the extra pale Street Fighter Alpha Ryu, and he looks even more pale, and this guy looks even more orange. Putting them next to each other is not a good idea. I would never do that in a display. I will say, on this version, the reissue version, they did paint the faces much nicer. We still have that stylized sculpt, but it's not anywhere near as noticeable on this. I think it's a pretty good looking figure. It's a good way to kind of have like a general look for Ryu that is based on Street Fighter 2. It mixes the character art, it mixes the artwork, it mixes all kinds of different things. When I say character art, I mean for in the game, to come up with this. And I think it works well. Maybe not perfectly, but it works pretty well. Now, the headband is glossy and dark red on this release compared to the rest of the headband, so this back piece, that's not good looking. It's not a huge deal, though. All right, for his clothes, it's a lot whiter. It's like a pure bright white with a little bit of shading on it, and it looks pretty good. The shading's a little hit or miss. It's not perfect, but it's there, and it looks decent. You can see from the side. It's not my favorite style of shading, but it works. They did do a good job with the lettering on the tie there, on the belt, so that's nice. The gloves are painted pretty well. So yeah, okay, like paint-wise, looks pretty good. Sculpt-wise, proportioning, looks great. He's a little thick in the waist because of his clothes. They didn't really account for that as much. They didn't suck in his waist as much as Storm did, so he's got a little bit of thickness, but it mostly makes sense. Where you'll start to notice it is when you look at the belt. The belt should be tighter, because anybody who's got this kind of clothing on with a narrow athletic build, the belt would be cinched in from the sides, and it's kind of not, so it does give him a little bit of a dumpier look. Doesn't quite make sense how broad it is at the belt. And yes, we're going in nitty-gritty because we have to compare these two really good lines. So generally, really good proportioning, but some questionable design choices, specifically in the waist. Otherwise, it looks really good. We do have to talk about the specific sculpt, though. The face looks nice. Musculature on this guy, it's not the best. They do have a very soft sculpt going on, and we can pop this off for you to see the body. It's not the best. It's not terrible by any means. It is an okay sculpt. It's not the best JADA has done as far as RYU goes. I think Fei Long is better than him. But it's a softer sculpt. It's not meant to be realistic in any sort of way, and it's not meant to be very dynamic or sharp. It's a fairly subdued look all the way around for the clothing and for the skin or muscles. It's not bad, but that's what it is. It has an almost cartoonish look to it, which is funny because the alpha figure is actually like an anime character, but it's good for what it is, but it definitely has that look, and some people have liked it, some people have not, but it is what they chose to do. It's a softer sculpt. So really good looking figure. Those are the high points and the low points. Let's talk about the Storm Arena release. First thing right off the bat, it's way more dynamic looking. In the proportioning, it's about the same. Like, they are almost exactly the same proportioning. If you look at the two side by side, you can see some differences, of course, but mostly they have the same height, generally the same length of arms. Legs are like, everything hits in the right spots. So proportioning is fairly similar. The first thing you notice, though, at least for me, is the shoulders are a little bit bigger and the waist is tapered in. The belt is actually cinched in to where it would be, like I already described. This guy doesn't have that, so it makes his shoulders look small and it makes his waist look really big. It does throw off the dynamic look of the character. Alright, so that is a key thing. As far as the skin tone goes, it's a matte finish all the way around. Looks gorgeous. He does have that paler skin. Matches the source material, but the skin tone and shading are immaculate. Maybe not every little stroke of the airbrush is perfect, but it looks good. It looks really, really, really good. It's phenomenal. The faces, very, very nicely done. It is the Alpha RYU, so he does have that younger look. Some people complain that he doesn't have the red hair. I don't know that he should have red hair. I don't know if people actually believe he should. I think he should have lighter brown hair, which he tends to have in the Alpha games, and he does have here. But yeah, the face is super clean, and I have no issues with the sculpt or anything. Coincidentally, his bandana is a little bit off too. Now his is white, but the tie part here is a different color than the part on his head, just like Ryu's was. But also, the other RYU, this white is different than this white, and that's arguably fine because they're different pieces of clothing. But generally in the games, I think they're supposed to be the same color. But now the shading on his clothes, there's more of it, and it looks really nice. His white is less of a pure white. This is like a cooler, almost greenish hue. This has a warmer white color. You can see the difference. Cool, warm. You can argue which one is more accurate. I would say this is actually better for Street Fighter 2 and this is better for Alpha, so I don't think anyone has the edge there in terms of the coloring of the white. But the execution of the paint and finish, very, very nice on this figure. I think they did a better job sculpting the clothing. It looks nicer around the shoulders. It looks nicer where it's tucking into the belt. And then the pants, a little bit more dramatic in the wrinkles and such. So again, to throw them up side by side, a little bit straighter and stiffer looking. This looks like a toy, I would say. This looks like the artwork. It looks like the artwork. They did a really, really good job. Paintwork for the gloves is equally good as the other one. So yeah, they're both executed to a very high level. I think that the design choices is really where it's going to come down to it, other than the skin tone. The skin tone, like, I get that he shouldn't be as pale as this one, but also pretty close. Like, they don't make RYU as pale as this most of the time, but they never make him orange. So just for that alone, this one loses, for sure. I'm not even counting the cartoon nature of it. That's going to be up to you. Like, this one looks like anime, but it has the deeper muscle grooves and things like that. It's got a way cleaner sculpt, way sharper sculpt. This doesn't have that. This is a little bit muddy looking. But if you want to go for the cartoon look, you can do that, but the orange skin still makes this guy lose in the aesthetic department. You could combine that with the fat waist and the seemingly low, skinny shoulders. Compared to this guy, there's just no contest. This figure blows every other $25 figure out of the water until this guy shows up, and then this guy makes this one look silly, if you ask me. So, for the aesthetic, Storm Arena takes the win for sure. It's not even close, in my opinion. Now, as far as accessories go, we'll start with the JADA RYU. We do have the two heads. We have the stern, normal head, and then we have the angry head. This angry head is a perfect example of this weird cartoonish look that doesn't look like anything in the game. Please stop saying it's based on the sprites. It looks nothing like the sprites. Any of the sprites ever. It looks like they based it on that, but it doesn't look like it. To me, this head sculpt is pretty terrible unless you're really on board with the cartoonish look. Which, if you are, they executed it well enough, but it's not my thing. It's not what I'm really looking for personally, and it's a very specific choice. Now, for hands, you do get the two fist hands, and then you get to the two fireball hands. Very nicely done. They swap out relatively easily, and they are good sculpts, so I like that. That's everything you need. And then lastly, for the JADA RYU, you get the fireball with the stand to hold it up. I don't like that the stand has the hinges on it. It makes it unnecessarily ugly, but it does give you varying heights and adjustability, so that's nice. But the fireball itself, it's fairly dark, but it is well done, and it does have the hands on the inside. So that's a really cool feature. Now, you're probably going to say he shouldn't have that in alpha, and that's fine, but he does have it here, and it looks freaking cool. And the fireball is nice and saturated and looks pretty good. Not great, you do see that big line around the center. So pretty good spread of accessories, perfectly acceptable for this price point. Now for the Storm Arena RYU, we have the stern normal head, and then we have the yelling head, well not yelling head, the angry head. Not as angry as the other head from JADA, but executed much better if you ask me. It matches the art style, which matches the figure style, which matches the art style of the game, and it looks just really, really good. Both head sculpts are phenomenally well done. Very, very pleased with that. Oh, I could do that for articulation, I guess. I was going to mention the headband. So yeah, the head sculpts look really good. Now for hands, we get the same set of hands basically, two fist hands and then two fireball hands. However, I don't know what Storm was doing when they sculpted these fireball hands, but they have this really weird fat palm thing going on. And I guess it's because they used ball hinges to do these hands and they wanted extra space, but they didn't need as much as they took. So these really weird fat hands look fine from the front, but from certain angles they look ridiculously bad. So that's not a good thing. Now onto the fireball. You guys saw in my review that mine's missing an upright piece, but it does have a fireball with a stand to hold it. A slightly better looking stand, though less adjustability. And I would say the fireball is in some ways better, but other ways it's not. It's not as saturated. It's smaller. It has less going on. Obviously we don't have the hands inside, but I mean, they both have a big line going down the middle from the side, so I don't know which one you would say is better. I guess technically the Street Fighter II RYU from JADA has the hands inside, so there's more going on there, but they're still both good fireballs, so we'll just say that. And then Storm decided to add a display stand, so that's a win right there because it exists. I don't think it's a very good display stand. I don't like the design with the pinchy clip. I don't like the metal wire clip that they included also. Only for Ryu, not for Ken. Very strange, especially since Ken has to do the uppercut. But it is included, so even if you don't like the stand, you get one. If you don't have any other options at home already, you get a stand to put this guy on. So that's a plus right there. So let's see who wins. For heads, I think Storm. For hands, I think JADA. For fireballs, let's just call it a wash. They both came with good fireballs that are appropriate for the era. So far it's a tie. Heads for one, hands for the other. Fireballs are a tie. But then you do get the display stand for Storm Arena, so Storm Arena has to win. They have more stuff, even though their hands are janky. Okay, so far we have the aesthetic going to Storm, and the accessories going to Storm, and the packaging going to JADA. But let's see about articulation, because JADA did a damn good job with their articulation. There's a lot going on in this figure for 25 bucks. But is it enough? Let's see. We have a double ball peg at the top of the neck, single ball peg at the bottom of the neck. The head moves around wonderfully because that's how you want to articulate necks. You really couldn't ask for too much more on a little plastic man. That is very nice. The clothing is, by the way, a very soft material. I don't know what kind of elastomer it is. It's not rubber. People like to say rubber. It almost feels like a very thin, high plasticizer PVC, but I don't know. I mean, there's no way for me to tell. But it's very nice soft material, so it won't get in the way of anything too much. We do get a butterfly joint in here, which is nice. It's useful. It's not the most useful thing. He's not getting into anywhere near the Hadoken pose that you would want him to get into. That's as far in as they go. So it's fairly limited, but you do get a butterfly joint. It's only horizontal or lateral. No verticality. full shoulder with the ball hinge, full rotation. It hinges up to better than horizontal, so that is nice. You get your bicep swivel, a little bit loose. JADA's had some stuck or loose joints on a lot of their figures, so be aware of that. Elbow does look really nice, good bend, no problem at all. That's a nice elbow. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge, so you are a little bit more limited, and that will be obvious in some poses, but most of the time, wrist articulation isn't super useful unless they're holding something. Now for the torso, I'm gonna leave the clothes on. Everybody's concerned about taking the clothes off. The clothes are meant to stay on, guys. Stop taking your clothes off on your action figures. Ryu's got his clothes on 99.99999% of the time. Okay, but so we do get some material, obviously, that even though it's a very soft material, it will bind and hold the figure in place. But we have a ball peg here, a double ball peg, and then another one down here at the waist. So we'll move it around just in conjunction, because you're not going to go in there and try to manipulate each joint individually as you're posing the figure while the clothes are on. So how far can he lean over, not using the hips? That's pretty far. That's not bad. That's like almost 45 degrees probably, so that's pretty good. Leaning back, it's even better. Well, maybe it's not better, but it's pretty good. Let's try to keep his clothes where he would want them. Yeah, he leans back and forward very nicely, side to side. That's pretty good too. It's a really nice set of ball pegs. Now here's one problem JADA has been running into. Right now he's got the Kung Fu action going on. That is completely stuck. That's the ball peg down here. I can't, maybe if I lean him as I rotate. Yeah, I can make it work, but his ball peg is very stuck. But either way, torso works very nicely. The clothes are soft. They get out of the way enough. I'm very, very happy with that. It works really well. Now for his hips, they have a much simpler design than the Storm Arena, and this is the design that I generally would go for on any action figure. Simpler is almost always better. You just have a ball peg, and he can get full splits. No problem at all. Just straight out there, no problem, and then bringing the leg forward, thanks to having a soft crotch piece, he can kick better than horizontal. No problem. You just move it up. There's no drop down, there's nothing to get loose or to bind or anything. It's just a really, really nice hip joint. Nothing's overly thick or chunky or anything like that. Very, very nicely done. No big gaps. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee. No problem. Decent proportioning, good range, decent looking joint, no problem at all. You do get a shin swivel underneath the pants, that's nice. Ankles go all the way back and all the way forward, and you get a solid ankle rocker that works nicely with that shin swivel. No toe hinge. No toe hinge. So, for the main body, that's the articulation. His headband does not articulate. That is very unfortunate. No rotation there. You do get the rotation at the belt, though, if you want it. So, wonderful spread of articulation. Maybe not everything it could be, missing a toe joint and, some issues here and there, like the headband, but really, really good overall. Now, for this one, it's not exactly the same setup, but it's similar. It's very, very similar. So, double ball peg up here, single ball peg down here. Basically the same amount of range. Maybe a little bit more on this guy. He's got a skinnier neck, a little bit more gapping, but it seems to work a little bit better range. And I'll just spoil it right now. You can move his headband. So that's a plus. That's very nice. I wouldn't say the neck is necessarily better because it's slightly gappier, but it is more functional. Many people, I think, would argue that this is a better option. Same type of material for the clothes, like it feels almost exactly the same, so that's a good thing. Now this guy does have a butterfly joint. It's a different design than that one. This one does allow for some vertical movement, and it has a hinge built into it and some ball pegs, and he has a soft chest, which will squish some, but he can definitely get his arms across more. It's not as good as it could be, like if it was a much uglier figure, and you can get it to do a little bit better, but just casually moving his arms, he does get more range, and like you can see it can go, but you're going to have to mess around with it to make him do a better Hadoken pose. So yeah, his butterfly is more functional going forward. Going back, it doesn't have as much range at all, but you trade off for that forward movement, and then you get a little bit of that vertical movement also. You can shrug the shoulder, so that's pretty cool. Raising the arm up, not better than horizontal on just that ball. If you use on ball hinge, if you use the ball inside, you can get up a little bit more, so that's all right. Full rotation there, bicep swivel, no problem. Double jointed elbows, really nice looking from the front. Not as nice looking from the back or bottom. They're not ugly by any means, but they're not as simple. They're a little bit gappy and shapely, so a little bit annoying. For the wrist, we have ball hinges in here with a sliding cuff. The ball hinges probably work a little bit better than the other guys, but like I said, you're not going to use the hinges that much on these guys, so it's not a huge deal. Now for the torso, we're going to do the same thing, and we have mostly the same articulation, except we also have the hinge. And this guy's gi does come off in a different way. You pop off the belt this way. There we go. I'm just doing this to show you the articulation because it's not just a ball peg. He has the ball peg here and the double ball peg here and a ball peg down here, but he also has the hinge, just so that you're aware of what's in there, okay? And then, I'll mention this real quick. When I was doing the review for Ken or Ryu, whoever it was, I mentioned how skinny his torso was and how it wasn't really right. I wasn't saying because his waist is skinny. I was saying because of the way they cheated, there's not enough meat on the sides here, and the abs stick forward a whole lot to give him a shape that's useful for the action figure, which is a good thing. Like, they cheated in the right way, but he is missing some muscle shapes that probably shouldn't be missing. Anyway, that's the joint that's inside there. I don't know which one of these was on first. I'll figure it out. It's very hard to do things on camera, but let's see if we can get it. There we go. And there we go. All right. So he's clothed now, which is the way I recommend you keep your toys. Don't be weird. All right, so now we're just going to see how the torso works. Like I said, I just want to see if it's functional without disrobing the action figure. We're going to hold his waist so that we're not using that. We're going to see how far forward he can lean. Not using the waist at all, he goes a lot farther forward. I'm sorry, not using the hips at all. It's just waist up. Because obviously if you use the hips, he can bend all the way over. All right, but let's see. That's all the way forward. And then going back. I don't think it's going to go as far back, but let's see how that functions. Oh, it does. It goes even farther. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that works. That hinge does afford some. I think they could have probably got away from using that hinge in the first place, but they did use it, and it does work. And the ball pegs work. Let's see about leaning to the side. They don't lean to the side anywhere near as much as I would have liked. When I was doing the other review and I had everything taken apart, it still doesn't lean very well. So he is limited to the side, leaning to the side, but you do get your rotation, of course, at both spots. So yeah, very, very nice torso. Way better lean forward and back compared to JADA, but not as much side to side. Now for the hips, this moves too, by the way, so that's good. Now for the hips, they went and they made them good looking, for sure. Very similar look to the JADA, other than the crotch is a little bit better looking probably. But they had to go with a drop down, to my chagrin. So you have the drop down, which does not help going out to the side, but you can still get basically full on splits. It's just a touch less than JADA, but it's essentially full splits. So you do get that. The drop down doesn't help that. The drop down helps this, which still, it's a touch better. It's a touch better range than JADA, but not that much. And if I actually had him standing perfectly, it's not that much different. It is better, so they get a bonus point there, but having the drop down to achieve it is also really irritating. So that's kind of a trade-off. You have to decide which one you like. Technically the range goes to Storm, but the handle ability definitely to JADA. Thigh swivel is fine. It rotates at the ball and at the cut. Double jointed knee, basically the exact same as JADA. It's not anywhere near as ugly as the elbow, and it's pretty functional, like it works, so that's fine. I will say the miscolored knees are more noticeable here on Storm than on JADA. It's not a huge difference. It's mostly in the finish. It's not really in the color. So if you hit these with some clear, and it'll probably stick because you're not actually messing with these too much, you'd probably be okay. But I do think it is just the finish there. So anyway, we have the ankle rocker, the shin swivel under the pants, and then bringing the ankles back. It works really well all the way. Bringing them forward. It's really good for Storm. Not that good though in general. It's a little bit more limited. Your ankle rocker is excellent though, but you do also get a toe hinge. Now it doesn't have the most range, but it is there. It's not the absolute best toe hinge in the world, but they did include it, so that will help your posability. And I will mention before I say who wins the articulation section, even though you're probably pretty sure, the JADA joints, like I said, sometimes they're stuck, sometimes they're loose. The Storm joints are creamy smooth. I had no problems with RYU or Ken. Some of the big Storm figures, the Storm collectibles, have stuck joints and things like that. These guys didn't have any. Will they be able to keep it up? I don't know. But so far they have been excellent figures to handle, other than the drop down. So, I have to say, this one is an excellent release as far as articulation goes. It poses basically every way I want. This one edges it out, though. I think in every way. It has the toe articulation. It has a better butterfly joint. It has better range in the torso other than leaning to the side. The neck works a little bit better. The headband moves a little bit. Well, it moves all the way. The other one doesn't. I think it just wins. There's not much this one does better other than leaning to the side and having the feet come farther forward, which it has to do because it has no toe articulation. So I'm going to have to say the articulation goes, I think, fairly clearly to the Storm Arena RYU. Okay, and now it's time for the final verdict. We'll summarize real quick. JADA wins the packaging for sure, and then for the aesthetic, Storm wins. For the accessories, Storm wins by default. They have more stuff. Even though the hands are screwed up, it's still more stuff and the hands are usable, though it's not that much of a win because the Hadoken hands do suck. And then for the articulation, it's not a huge runaway, but Storm Arena is the better set of articulation. It's the better poser. It's going to look better doing it too. So, to me, it's a clear winner. They're both wonderful figures. The winner is really just the collector. No, I'm not going to say that. It's true, but the winner is Storm. Storm Arena came out swinging. JADA did that already when this line released. They said, watch this. Watch what we're going to do. And then Storm was like, well, I think we could do it too. And they did. If they can keep their prices to where they are now, this is like one of the all-time best action figure lines ever. This already was, and it still will be, but this one is on top. This one wins. To me, it's not even close. The skin tone, you know what? I don't care that it's Alpha RYU. Even if I only wanted this version, the skin tone is enough. This figure looks great by itself. As soon as you put this one on here, the waist and shoulders make it look so much better. This one wins. To me, it's by a mile. Personally, technically, it's not by that much, but it's a significant win for Storm Arena. So there it is, guys. That's it for me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but I'm done. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.